It's common for retirees to supplement their SBCERA pension by working after retirement, but there are a few important things you need to consider. I'm Colin, and in today's quick tip, we're going to talk about the rules SBCERA retirees have to follow if they go back to work for one of our participating employers and want to continue receiving their monthly retirement benefit. If you're going to work for a private employer or an agency SBCERA does not provide retirement benefits for, your employment will not affect your monthly allowance. However, if you work for an employer SBCERA provides retirement benefits for, you'll have to follow a few rules to ensure your monthly checks aren't paused and you aren't reinstated to active status. This includes working as an independent contractor, consultant, or through a temporary agency. If SBCERA determines that there is an employer-employee relationship, you're required to comply with the returning retiree restrictions, and I'll explain those in just a moment. The first step is letting SBCERA know you want to go back to work by completing a returning retiree certification form. Your employer's Human Resources Department should provide this form to you. Under California law, retirees can only return to work for two reasons. Either the retiree is needed to prevent the stoppage of public business, or the retiree has skills needed to perform work of a limited duration. You'll be required to certify which one applies to you on the form. The law also requires retirees to wait 180 days from their retirement date before returning to work. Now, there are two exceptions to this rule. Safety members who will be working in active law enforcement or firefighting positions, and general employees who are critically needed to fill positions. The general employee exception also requires the employing agency's governing board to approve the reemployment at a public meeting. However, the two exceptions do not apply if you accepted an incentive to retire. In that case, you'll need to wait the full 180 days. There are also some other provisions you should know about. If you haven't reached normal retirement age, that's 50 for safety members and 55 for general members, federal law requires you to wait 60 days before returning to work, regardless of your classification. If you received unemployment benefits, you must wait 12 months after receiving your last unemployment benefit before you can return to work. If you were granted a disability retirement, you're prohibited from returning to your old job or any position that includes duties you performed in your previous post. Finally, you can't have an agreement, either written or verbal, with your former employer to return to your position after you retired. Once you're back at work, you're limited to working 960 hours per fiscal year. That's July 1st to June 30th. Your employment also cannot last more than 18 consecutive months unless you get prior approval from the SBCERA Board of Retirement. Violating return to work requirements could result in you being reinstated to active SBCERA membership and your monthly benefit being suspended. You'll also be required to pay back any benefits you received during the time that your employment didn't comply with the rules. The return to work rules don't apply to retirees who volunteer with an SBCERA participating employer and receive no compensation or perks. Retirees are also allowed to serve on an agency's board or commission and receive the same per diem as other members. You can find more information about rules governing retirees returning to work at sbcera.org. Thanks for watching.